question.
Yes.
The media has to ask a very important question to the parties in power, to the parties in opposition. Why has the accountability system failed when one functionary after the other is giving reports about a potential problem? Why are all other systems failing? Or is coalition politics going to get the better of good governance?
Well, answer that. Rajiv Pratap Rudy is coming into the debate right now. Mr. Harish Salve arguing for the last 10 minutes, Rajiv Rudy. It's a systemic problem, he says. It's a systemic problem. Don't focus on one thing alone. Don't make this a media trial. These have been some of his basic points. I just want to draw you into this debate.
We can certainly invite Mr. Salve for a bigger debate on cleansing politics, cleansing system. So for that, I think we can look for an appropriate time, and I'm sure he has a point of view which should be well appreciated. But coming back, I'm sure when I was informed, I was not here for a overall debate on corruption in the system, because that we are aware, and the day we decided to adopt this democracy, where executive people, the people who are elected have to hold executive positions, much worse was expected, and I think this is what is exactly happening, but that's a completely different debate. I'm here just to ask a few questions, and the first question is, today we are very happy, and there's the law of furor that the CBI is raided 34 places, some in Chennai, some in Delhi. But the question here is, the CBI, which had got the report of the CVC to file a case and investigate on October 20th in 2009, and it filed an FIR which had an unnamed accused there. Why did it take them 1 year to reach where they are, what they are doing today? And this is the question which needs to be answered.
Yes.
This is the question which everyone must know. And is it because now the situation...
Mr. Rudy.
Let him complete. Okay, what's your question to Mr. Rudy?
No. How can someone butt in without hearing me? How can someone butt in without...
Dushyant Dave, let him complete and then you can answer.
My submission, it is just not the DMK. Possibly, it's just not the DMK. Possibly in the system when we are finding lobbyists, corporates and so forth and so on, possibly even the person whom the entire opposition has been asking, why don't you come clear? Why don't you constitute a JPC and find out the facts? He is also not speaking. Possibly there could be a situation where the Congress will be asked, why was a prosecution not allowed for 11 months? And is it that time was given to the CBI or all those who were matter to eliminate evidences, which brings the Congress party in the fore? Now, these are many questions which need to be answered. And who is there to answer? The Prime Minister is opted to keep his mouth quiet. He's been quiet all this away.
Rajiv,
so where does this country get an answer?
Are you saying...
When I talk about systematic corruption,
are you saying,
that I agree,
Mr.
and
Rudy,
we should have a bigger debate on this.
No, Mr. Rudy, are you saying there is no culpability of the corporates and the lobbyists? That they are being forced to do all this?
No. Did I say so?
No, I'm just asking you.
If I said so, I was wrong. Maybe because I was not there in the debate from the beginning. Yes, all of them who are involved, and now today we are finding people in the Hawala, we are finding corporates, we are finding NGOs, we are finding people who have links to the LTT, they are the sympathizers of LTT, we are finding people who have association with Dawood. Now, a lot of things are coming out, and I think the Congress has to do a lot of answering at the end of the day. It's not the CBI which is supposed to answer. CBI will take care, and whatever it is doing, whether good or bad, that is to be debated in court, and the merit has to be decided. What has to be answered today is the government of the day, which was sitting stock on whatever was happening in this country, is fully responsible and answerable to the people of this country, and especially when they have to come to the media and speak out.
Okay, now what about, Dushyant Dave wanted to ask a question there. Go ahead, Dushyant.
Yeah, Mr. Rudy, I didn't want to butt in, my apologies, but don't use that expression, please. My question is this: you are absolutely right, Congress has a lot to answer. Undoubtedly, it has to answer to the people of this country. Nobody can dispute that position, and you have put it very articulately. But the thing is, why is it that the opposition did not do anything about it between 2007 and 2009 when the FIR was filed? BJP is a very responsible opposition party. It is very resourceful. Why is it that this escaped BJP's attention when palpably wrong things were being done by Mr. Raja on this first-come, first basis, distribution of telecom licenses, which was the policy which BJP had brought about?
Excellent question. Excellent question, Mr. Dave. And this is the question which Arnav should have asked also. And why I call it an excellent question is because we as the opposition, not once in Parliament, right from 2008 The leader of the opposition in the Rajya Sabha, Mr. Arun Jaitley, debated and talked about it in length for hours together. In the Lok Sabha, we had a full debate on the subject. The response of the government was, we have responded, this is the maximum. You see, what do you expect? And now when the Supreme Court comes into it, now when the CAG talks about it, we had said that we had warned what was happening in the government chose, and if we had stalled the parliament then, you would have said that we are irresponsible.
No.
Now after being
that's your
vindicated,
assumption.
What had happened 2 years ago.
You didn't raise it.
Just a second.
Your assumption.
What had happened 2 years ago stands vindicated by the CAG report, stands vindicated by what the Supreme Court had to say. And that is why today we took that stand and said that we had spoken about it.
No.
The government preferred to ignore it because they had come back with the majority.
No, I am not politicizing it.
Rough shot on us.
No.
That is
I
the
have
point.
a more
And you have to
fundamental
accept
point.
the political aspect.
Now, Mr. Salve, your fundamental point, go ahead.
I have a more fundamental point. See, how do you enforce accountability? The primary institution to enforce accountability is Parliament. In Parliament, through various committees, there are consultative committees of the Ministry of Telecom. They fail to pick up any signals. The CVC report, the Parliament refused, the various committees, the various institutions, Parliament itself failed to pick up the signals. So why do lobbyists, whoever they are, succeed? Why do corporates succeed in getting their way with executive government?
The memory is
because check and balances in the system is not working.
No.
And how do we revive these checks and balances is what we should be discussing today.
Mr. Salve, you are classically using your astute skills as a lawyer, trying to broad-base the argument when I am asking very specific questions. My question to you is, hold your heart and tell me,
yes.
Is it ethical for a former TRAI chief to be working for Neera Radia when it is well known what Neera Radia is trying to do in the telecom sector? Is it ethical?
If you ask me if it is ethical, is it ethical for former civil servants to work for lobbyists? If you ask me, is lobbying ethical? My personal view is no, it is not.
Okay,
that's my personal view in the matter.
Okay.
Does lobbying go on in this world? Yes, it does.
So then,
why does it go on? And I have had this debate on your channel before, or where when Dr. Manu Singhvi said we must legalize lobbying, my answer was let us also legalize prostitution.
No, but therefore, therefore,
my personal view is we should get rid of lobbying, we should get rid also of the need for lobbying.
No, but need for lobbying comes later. I am on a specific question on this and I want to get Hartosh in because he's been quiet on this. Therefore, you have conceded the point that it is illegitimate of Neera Radia to get a former TRAI
I don't have to
chief
concede the point. That is my view.
No, to work for her, that is illegitimate for this
concede the point.
to try and infiltrate the system using extra constitutional means to try and influence it, which is exactly what Hartosh spoke about in the Open magazine article.
Look,
Hartosh.
Let's be very clear. I am not saying who did and who did not.
Even if
what I am saying is lobbying is wrong.
You go and try and legalize lobbying, even if you set up norms for lobbying, even then by any such norm what Neera Radia has done exceeds that brief. The linkages Neera Radia established, the kind of conversations she was having with ministers, with journalists, with bureaucrats, clearly points to a large-scale illegality. And that is what we need to focus on. And in this precise case, I think we need to be clear where the primary blame today lies. The absence of a Congress spokesperson today on your debate when they are willing to appear everywhere is telling. The JPC is necessary if we need to find out the truth and apportion blame to every individual concerned in this case. It's not just systemic. Until you punish individuals, the system will not reform itself. You need to name individuals, pinpoint them and take action against them.
Okay, so let's have a time frame for this, Vinod Sharma. Let's have a two-month time frame, therefore, to do justice to how strongly people think about it. Will someone accept that?
I don't know. It's a very subjective view to say that a JPC is the best instrument available to this country. I don't think this is an issue on which peers can sit in judgment over peers. Because, you know, if you have to investigate this scam starting from the early 2000s until now, then I don't think that this JPC is the right instrument. It's my very personal view. And we can agree to disagree on this. Another point on which I want to
parliament
come
of
in
this
here
country,
is
who do we
that
trust,
regional parties
what are we left with when we are saying the parliament of this country
got away
cannot be
with
trusted?
blackmailing national parties. national parties. They have got away with blackmailing
national
national
party is
parties
being
because the
blackmailed here?
nature of coalition politics
No,
is such.
no.
I am sure Rudy will agree with me that in
that's
mostly
the
in
problem.
coalition situations, national parties are not able to conduct themselves the way they would like
No,
to
you
conduct
are-
themselves.
you are-
This is not to suggest
one
that there are
second.
no
Vinod
there are no
Sharma.
black sheep in national
Vinod
parties.
Sharma.
But
Vinod
left
Sharma,
to them,
I am
they would
sure-
have conducted themselves differently.
No, Vinod Sharma, I am sure that the Congress and BJP will give a thunderous applause to what you have said, because it gives them completely the clean
No, but
sheet
it's
of
not a
any
question of thunderous
responsibility.
applause, it's a reality.
No, but whatever
You
the
know,
reality,
these
they
tapes
allowed
were in
Hawala
circulation
operations
for
to
8
carry on.
months. It took media houses which had the courage to publish them about say 8 months to come to a determination whether they can go ahead with it. Okay, there are some difficult decisions which
No,
take
it
time
didn't
to
take that
take.
long.
I'm not
Excuse
saying
me,
they
I
took
think
a wrong
again this is a
decision. They took a brave
misrepresentation of
decision.
facts.
All of us is applauding them.
Hartosh,
But
yes,
the fact
Hartosh.
remains there are some decisions which are difficult to take because the stakes are too high.
No, so today, having come to this pass, Hartosh wanted to rebut first. Go ahead, Hartosh.
Yeah, just because the stakes are high, just because the pressures are high, does not justify the extreme illegality of what happens. Whatever the compulsions of alliance politics, that does not allow for the subversion of normal legal constitutional processes. Somebody has to be accountable for that.
Of course, agreed.
Absolutely. And the Bofors case is not a compulsion of coalition politics. Mr. Sharma, many other cases have also dragged in this country. Everything can't be blamed to your troublesome allies. Mr. Dave.
No, but
Arnav,
then,
let me come in.
no, Arnav, I can give you examples from the past.
So-
That's not fair, no?
So sure,
I can give you
Mayawati is-
20 examples. You people went ahead and celebrated
Arnav.
the ATS report on Gujarat. Gujarat happened in 2002. Report came in 2010.
Let me ask you,
What
Mayawati
is
is
this?
nobody's
How-
ally.
We have to apply similar yardsticks.
No,
isn't
Mayawati
it?
is nobody's ally. Her declared income went up from 1 crore rupees in 2003 to 50 crore rupees declared income in 2007. The case is still dragging. She's nobody's ally. What's protecting her? Why should the man who got 1 year sentence for a 50 rupee bribe in 1993 not ask today? Then why am I being cheated for taking a 50 rupee bribe when Kalmadi is not being questioned? The CBI has not got the clean
Because
sheet.
he took
Clean
only
sheet.
50 rupees.
No, because this is a fundamental question, isn't it? Yes, Mr. Rudy's been wanting to come in.
No, but I would request you, Arnav, to set the whole debate in order, because what we are discussing and what Mr. Vinod Sharma is creating a lot of ambiguity in the conversation or the discussion itself. We have to be very clear whether A, the government did not respond to what was happening under its nose. The cabinet was aware of it. The Prime Minister, was the Prime Minister not aware of it? And when the opposition, which they said, someone pointed out that the opposition was sitting quiet. And when the opposition finally decided, because we stood vindicated by what the CAG said, what the Supreme Court said, what the CBC had said to the CBI, after that, it was the duty of the opposition to bring forth and say that enough is enough. And this is exactly, and the question is just not an alliance partner, the question is far more than that. And as time passes, I do not know what will happen in the next couple of months, more and more things are coming out, they're rolling out of the cupboard. So if this is the situation and the involvement is too huge, there are aspects which are relevant for the system, for the people to be answerable in democracy, for the government, the cabinet formation, the cabinet, the whole cabinet is responsible, the Prime Minister is answerable. There has to be, at the end of the day, there has to be some semblance of this democracy working.
Surely.
If it ceases to function, if that is the question. Now everyone is finding ways to, it's just not a small amount. If it's a fact that it's 1,73,000 crore, it's a fact.
No,
and that facts needs to be ascertained. And the people who are involved, how many people were involved, whether people within the country, whether people outside the country, people in the
Arnav,
system,
can I tell you
outside
something
the system,
candidly?
with the government,
Okay,
outside
Mr.
the
Salve
government.
is saying something
we need a broader
candidly.
spectrum of, we need a real spectrum here to find out what has happened.
Okay.
And if the opposition says we need to find it out, what is the problem? We have had JPCs looking into contamination, which Sharad Pawar was the head of the JPC. There were smaller issues which had JPC. So let's
Let me
have
tell you
all
something.
the views across. We have to fight out the corruption, we have to fight out the system, but the fact has to be admitted that there is something wrong which the government is suspect of. The government is hiding, the government is trying to fall back and say, no, everything is okay and the institutions are taking care of it.
Okay,
The question
last
arises
point.
out of the CBI itself. CBI has been a non-functional, of course, maybe the present director who has taken charge has decided, despite the government, to go ahead and do it. But there have been
He's
officers
woken
who
up
have
3
been,
weeks too late.
who have been lapping up with the
he's-
government and not performing. So let's ask many questions.
He's woken up 3 weeks too late. ED interrogates one day, 3 weeks later the CBI decides to go in for a raid. I mean, this is investigation in slow motion. Last
Yes,
point,
yes,
Mr. Salve.
There cannot be any condonation
Arnab,
to that.
I
There
want to
can't be
tell
any
you something.
condonation.
Yes, go on.
As a Supreme Court lawyer, as a lawyer who does administrative law, I have seen one thing which worries me. For a common man to get the DDA to change the allocation of his flat or to get a small little reprieve of 5,000 rupees wrong penalty levied for some wrong payment of installment or, piffling things which lesser mortals like us have to deal with on a day in and day out basis. We know what it means to deal with the government system. And I have seen big clients appearing for them, against them, getting huge government decisions changed, policies changed. How do you think all this happens? And let us be very candid.
Because of Neera Radia.
Is this a system?
Because of the
and
Neera
it
Radia.
happens because some people have access.
Because of the
and
power
some
of the
people
corporates.
don't have access to government.
No, because the power of corporates.
Some people have access, absolutely. Because people have access, people don't have access. This is a good occasion. You found one person surely now under investigation. This is a good occasion and please don't let this go.
Okay.
Please make sure we examine the system of what ails us and this decision-making process of the government, as Rajiv Rudi rightly says, this whole decision-making edifice has to be corrected if India has to come back. Otherwise, you will again catch one person, CBI will do raids, maybe file a charge sheet, and it will be life back to normal.
No. Surely the media is certainly going to follow the story, certainly about Neera Radia and the corporate collusion. Mr. Salve.
I'll tell you, Arnab, take 10 big policy changes of last year and investigate how they happened.
Certainly.
And in 7 out of 10 you will find problems.
I am sure the edifice is going to come crumbling down. Time for it to happen. Thank you very much.
I think you would
Gentlemen,
find 10 out of 10.
I'm totally out of time, but thank you very much for that. Let the nexus spill over, as we say here on the News Hour. Let all the dirt come out. On the other side, News Hour tonight. Let's get direct with China. How direct can we get? How direct should we get? I'm back in a few minutes. Thank you.
Star Health Insurance, the health insurance specialist.
Papa, which month is this?
December.
Wow! December's here? Yay! December!
Deals for daddies, happiness for kids. The Hyundai December Delight. Buy a Hyundai, get free insurance and other attractive offers. Offer